Hello, everybody. This is WREXtra Time, and we have just finished up our match with Huddersfield, Wrexham at home, and we ended up with a 0-0 draw. A very entertaining match, end-to-end football. We pressed. We had some very nice chances, but in the end, we just could not get the goal. Some of the boys did look a little bit tired. We will talk about that. All in all, a good game. Wish we came out with the 3 points, but say la vie, I guess. Some of the other matches around us didn't have some bad results either, so we are sitting in a very nice position. Now, we do have Welsh Techie and PC in the background, and I'll bring them in shortly. But just asking everybody now to throw up some topics for a chat, and I will pin them and we will try and get through them as we go. So let me present the table if I can do it. Share my screen. Where's the table? Here we go. Boom. So where we are at the moment, we have Birmingham City in first with 28 points. We are second with 24 points. And then following up behind us are Wycombe Wanderers, who won today, 23 points, and they hold a game in hand. Mansfield are also on 23 points with a game in hand. They won again today as well. So they have made up 2 points on us and are sitting just behind us. So we have Mansfield coming up pretty soon. So that will be an interesting match. And maybe some bit of a decider on this table. Huddersfield Town, we just played obviously to a draw. Exeter City not doing too bad in sixth place. Then Reading, Barnsley, Stockport, who we also have coming up soon. Lincoln City, Charlton Athletic. Charlton are our next opponents on the weekend. I will be at that match. They are on 18 points for the same matches as us. So I will have fun with that. We will talk about that towards the end. I'll let you know what's happening because I will be at the ground and I will most likely be going live at some point. So let's pull this down and let's bring in our guys waiting patiently in the back. If I can see them. Yeah, there we go. That is Welsh Techie and PC. Not PC, on PC. So hello, boys. How are we doing?
Yeah, good.
Good day, Paddy.
Right, so we're back. Just a minute each, guys. Quickly, what did you think of the match?
You want to go first, PC?
Age before beauty.
Very good. Not anything that I wasn't expecting, to be honest. I knew it was going to be close. I knew we were going to get tired from about 65 minutes because on Saturday when I was at Rotherham, I could see they were dead on their feet by the end. Little disappointed that Parky maybe didn't make the change a little bit earlier, but there's no surprise in that. We missed that kind of sharp bit at the front that we needed, that moment of brilliance that we kind of a little bit blunted, but again, very similar to Rotherham on Saturday. Is it 1 point gained or 2 points lost? Huddersfield and us are very close, so a point.
Well, agreed with pretty much everything there. I kind of knew coming into the game that Mullen still wasn't on form. He needs that match sharpness, and it was one of those kind of situations where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. We needed him to get minutes because Marriott's injured, so he had to play. We knew that he isn't at, he's just not striking on all cylinders. So I suspected that he would get no goals, or maybe he'd get a fluky one like he did last week. But yeah, I'm not 100% on what was going on with keeping O'Connell on in the second half. I don't know what happened in the team sheds, but he came out a completely different player and not for the better. Obviously, yellow card, and then just error after error after error. And I always like, just, man, bring on Brunt, please. put us out of our misery and bring on Brunt, but it didn't happen. Parky will probably have an interview. Yeah.
Hey, mate, do you mind if I use some swearing place?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
think he's having a burger.
No,
Just-
housemate knocked on my door.
just before we move on there, I'm just going to say hello to everybody in the chat. So we have George Williams got first, Michael Pierce second. Looks like that game is never going to end. Well done, guys. Keep it going. John Sampson third doesn't seem like worth its claiming. John Sampson, hey all, any others agree with my foul rant? Well, I don't know what your foul rant was. If it was in the comments, I missed it. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit later. We will definitely be talking about foul. Brian Chang thinks that foul started too late. I agree with that one. Revenant foul should have come on at 65. John Sampson,
Ravan is sorry, Paddy. Ravan is the mystery for me.
Yes.
Why doesn't he bring him on it? I just don't understand. I don't know whether he's worried because Barney is playing so well and he doesn't want to take McLean off because he's captain. I don't know what it is, but I just don't get at the moment why he's not utilizing Ravan unless he's seen something that we're not.
Yeah, I agree with that one. John thinks he looked good. He was attempting to facilitate from the moment he came in. Considering, next one again, I'll get through these quickly. Considering we have a game ahead of most of the top, not getting 3 points here was not a good thing for us. In general, yes, but just very, very briefly, are you worried about the two teams behind us that can catch us on a game in hand?
I think there are a number of teams behind us who are a danger. To be honest with you,
just on game in hand now. That just specifically because they have the game in hand.
Yes.
Oh yeah, obviously, because suddenly we can go from second down to fifth if we're not careful. So yeah, but at the end of the day, you have to look at it from the point of view that you can't worry about other teams.
Mm-hmm.
You've just got to concentrate on what you do, and what we need to do is to win the games we can win, and the more difficult games against the more difficult opponents is have the right tactics and the right players in the right places to get the job done. And those are the important bits. Yes, you can worry about Mansfield. Yes, you can worry about Wickham. You can say that these teams have games in hand us and they're going to catch us, and that's highly possible. But we saw last season, didn't we, in League Two, Stockport went off like a bullet at a gate, and then they had a moment, and then they dropped all the way back down before they then came back again. It's very fluid. So it's a concern, but I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. I'm just trying to fly through these comments and get back to.
Actually, before we keep going,
no, what?
The Revan issue.
Okay, I don't want to dive in just yet. I want to get through the chats and get back to where we were, if we can, as quick as we can. Then we'll dig into everything. Parky needs to take bigger risks. I think some people agree with that. Okay. George, again, not getting 3 points was like a loss considering everyone around us has a game in hand. Maybe. Yeah, it depends. I give a lot of leeway because they are one of the top teams that are expected to be promoted. So look, you can't beat every single team at home. We didn't lose to them. We still haven't lost at home yet. So that would be the positive that we can discuss. Okay, behind bars. Our position on the table is deceiving. A little bit, but not too much. I love looking at the table on a points per game basis, just to see exactly where you're sitting. But I'm still comfortable where we are at the moment. Nick Donlan thinks it was a gut punch for sure. Okay. George Williams again. Lack of speed was evident today. I agree with that in general. I think we're a little bit slower than other teams, but our defense is saving us in general. Okay, Michael agrees. Losing this puts us in a bad position. It's just words at the end of the day, but bad position in general, we're in a great position. Let's try and take some positives from it. Look, we all would love to be up around the top four, Okay. George Williams, with one striker, you can put a number of players there because you will have attacking midfielder below him like Dobson and Lee. This is something we can take as a topic a little bit later. Yes, if it comes down to it, we can swap to a one up front and play that way. David, if Mullen gets injured, who's our number 10? Okay. Is Mullen as our last striker a must to play 90 minutes every game? That can be a topic. How are we possibly sitting in a nice position? Well, if you wanted to be in the top 6, which I think everybody was comfortable with at the start of the season, we're in a good position. Has everybody changed their sights on top 2? Is the only thing acceptable? Okay, should we be working on an MLS loan for January? Maybe January is too late. We mentioned that during the match. Mullen will not be able to go 90 minutes per game without getting injured. Okay, and then I'll never catch up because everybody keeps putting in more and more and more and more. So, pick one of those topics. Where will we start?
PC? A non-PC wanted to talk about Revan, so let's talk about him.
Let's start with Revan then. Okay, that's fine. Why?
Yeah, see, the thing is, now that Bolton's back, do you think that maybe the reason he hasn't played Revan is because maybe he wants to give him a full 90 with Bolton playing that more defensive wing back on the right wing and give Barney a game off, maybe potentially?
The interesting bit though is he's not even put Bolton in at the end of a game for 10 minutes, even though he has started putting him on the bench. He has given Revan some time at the very end. Again, like Fowl tonight, not enough time, because you can't give a player 6 minutes and expect them to work miracles unless it is an absolute, weird freak of nature. But the fact that he's not even included Bolton and giving him any minutes at all would say to me that in the pecking order, Revan is above Bolton. But don't forget, Bolton was umming and ahhing, wasn't he? Saying there was rumours, weren't there, in the last transfer window that he was going to go.
Yeah, there was.
So I'm wondering whether he's kind of realised where he is and sort of said, maybe my future's not at Wrexham. I don't know. It's a good point. It's a good point.
PC, why do you think he's not a more?
Well, it's just because at some point with the fixture congestion, I could see us needing to, rotate the squad. And as I said, like when we play, we've always got one side more attacking, one side more defensive, and Bolton plays that more defensive on the right hand side, whereas Revan plays more attacking on the left hand side. So, pretty much playing the exact same way we did last year, with McLean, going down to the byline, it would be Revan this time or whatever. And as I said, that's just more of a squad rotation thing. But Parky's very set in his ways. But who knows? If things get crazy, maybe he's seeing, how overworking people can lead to injuries, and maybe he might need to utilize that. But who knows what Parky thinks? Let's be honest.
Okay, is it fair to consider the other side of that coin, that Parky could say, we got the results because I pushed everybody and I pushed them and risked breaking them, basically, but that got us the results? Is it fair to say that, or is that just an extremely dangerous thing to do for a manager? That he should not be doing it at all.
But Paddy, as you just said, and as Josh said earlier in the previous stream, why have a squad then? Why not just have 11 players? If you're not going to use the squad, why have them? You shouldn't be pushing 11 players to any limits. You should be playing 11 players in their best position with the tactics that are correct for the team you're against, and then at the right moment, bringing in your reserves and changing it around a bit, either to change your tactics if you feel something's not working, or just to freshen it up a bit because you've got tired legs. You shouldn't be pushed. You should not be pushing 11 players to the edge.
I agree. And just so people know, before some people say I keep changing my mind, for the WREXtra Time, I do sometimes play devil's advocate and play the other side just to try and give a little bit of balance. Okay. So people in the chat, if I say something that sounds a bit crazy, maybe it's just for conversation.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
turns into a
you-
Chester fan sometimes. It's incredible.
Well, that's it, man. You've got lots of people watching, and some people probably actually have that opinion. So you kind of need to voice it for them.
Yeah,
Plus,
absolutely.
plus one thing with this extra time is I want it to be about other people's opinions, because look, I'm on the show during the week. People hear my opinions a lot, and I get plenty of opportunity to talk. So on this, like, some of them will be my perfect opinions, and others will be just for conversation on the other side, or steel manning someone's argument maybe, to see if it's right or wrong. Okay. Are we ready to move on, or
Yeah.
anything more to say? Okay, next up. Do you want to go defense first? How did we find our defense? They kept the clean sheet again.
I agree
Yeah.
with non-PC about O'Connell. To be honest, I think O'Connell needs to be swapped out. I think we need to get Brunt in there, or if Max comes back quick enough, put Max back in there. I think we need to give O'Connell a rest. I don't know whether it's because it's that position and he's not happy with that position, or there's something else. I don't know. I mean, what do you think, non-PC?
Well, I've been pretty clear that O'Connell is a central centre back. He doesn't have the pace that he may have done, let's say, I don't know, 5-10 years ago. Plus, that kind of wide centre back role has other things that they kind of need. I'd actually say that Brunt is even probably better at it than Cleworth is. I mean, Cleworth is great defensively, but Brunt also helps by running down the line and just helping with Barney and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been pretty much about trying to get O'Connell out of that position. I mean, I understand why he wants to keep him in the back three, but if you've got to the point now where you're like Scar is undroppable, then you got to be like, all right, man, maybe it's time to bring in Cleworth, or if he's back up to form, or Lewis Brunt, who I've been a fan of since day dot. So
He's very good.
yeah.
He's a very good player. He's a very underrated, definitely. I think he's found himself in, because that back three have been so solid, and it's always difficult when you've got a back three which is with the keepers creating clean sheets. It's very difficult to then swap somebody out. But I agree with you. I think Brunt is an excellent player. I think he's very underrated, and I think he will show. Similar to lots of people said that about Dan Scar when Dan Scar couldn't get in for ages. His time's going to come, and look what he's done. He's dovetailed in beautifully, and like he's been there forever. And now he is. You now look at him and go, well, you can't take him out. I mean, on Saturday he was electric. The thing about it is, I don't know whether you could, because I don't know whether you can see it on when you're watching it on screen. It's all the stuff he does off the ball when the camera's not on him. It's his positioning. It's things like that. He's so sharp. He's looking at the passes 2 moves before to cut out or to get in there first. He's watching the players like hawks, and you don't see that often when you're watching on TV, because obviously the TV's following the action. But in the ground, I was watching him, and I was watching him, and his football brain is razor sharp, and you can't take him out at the moment. You really can't.
It's funny, man. Everything you're saying is basically the exact thing I said last week on this thing. Yeah, like a whole lot of people were saying who should have been man of the match, and I was like, it was Scar. 1,000% it was Scar. His anticipation, he's always 3 steps ahead, which is a bit weird for a central centre back, But yeah, he doesn't even look his age when he plays there. So yeah, he's really good. And he also, his ability to lose his man in set pieces, it's been great. I mean, he almost scored last week. He headed the ball back into the center of the box, and that could have even turned into a goal if someone was on it. So both in attack, both in defence and in attack, he's undroppable. He's up there with Cluth, in my opinion.
The thing about great sides, sorry, Paddy. The thing about great
go on.
sides through football is it always has a strong spine. Always. You always go keeper, centre back, central midfield, centre forward. It has that strong spine that everything works from. And we're getting there because if you've got a Concord and you've got Scar and you've got Dobson, that is three very strong players in that centre. And that's what we should be starting to build things around. Now, as soon as we can get Mullin firing back, as you rightly said earlier, on all cylinders, you're suddenly really getting that spine. But ideally, we need somebody to replace Palmer in that central spine as that kind of target person. Somebody strong, bit more pace, but has that physicality, bit more youth. If we can get that with the three players that we've got currently in that centre, and then we're already building out from there anyway. I think we're really gonna be unstoppable. And I see, not this season, but I see that moving forward over the next couple of seasons. I think because Birmingham are going to move on, they're going to go. We might get second, but I honestly can't see it. I think we might get playoffs, but playoffs is playoffs. It's an absolute lottery. You can shake a dice, and you might score snake eyes, and you might score lucky seven. You just don't know. But don't forget, as they go up, other players from the championship are going to come down. So we're going to be building, and I think if we can build on that central spine and get that final player up front, I think that's really going to make a massive difference.
So do we think that part of the problem at the moment with O'Connell is more mental, that he feels he's already lost his place? Or is it simply we've moved him out of position, he's not as good there? What would be most of it?
I'd say that he's out of position.
I can't imagine anything mental will affect him, to be honest with you. I think non-PC is absolutely right. I think he's out of position.
Okay. Moving off slightly, Clewert. Some comments in the comment section asking about Clewert and updates. So he's been back on the grass. He's been running around. So he's getting there. He's close if he's doing that. So maybe not this weekend, but then we have another week, not counting the cup matches, before our next league match. So is Connell going to lose his spot immediately for Clewert to come back in?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a call from Parky. I mean, at the end of the day, he's the one who sees him on the training ground. But
assuming he's ready,
I would hope so. I mean, that's what I would like to see. But I don't know how much he's recovered, so to speak.
So would you think about moving him over and taking O'Connor out? Because I think O'Connor is better at the moment than O'Connell is. Do you think that?
And swap Clewert to the other side?
No, keep Clewert where it is, but move O'Connell.
Move O'Connell over to instead of O'Connor.
What?
The worrying thing is if he's
side?
So if he's out of position on one side, he's going to be even worse on the other side. You don't want to change up too much, though, you see, because as I say, we're getting last week last week on Saturday clean sheet, tonight clean sheet. You don't want to change up too much because you might end up throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But O'Connell made a couple of mistakes tonight, gave away the ball. He did the same on Saturday. He infuriates me where he's backed into the corner and he's under pressure. And when I used to play defence, it was put your foot through it, just get it out.
Yeah, get rid of it.
And let your side then come back and reset, give yourself time. But he's trying to be clever. He's trying to turn 45 degrees on himself and then hoof it up the pitch. And he gets caught out because the attacker's on him or the winger's on him and steals the ball. He ends up on his backside. He's out of position and he's on the floor. So again, he's got to try and then recover quickly, or somebody then has to cover to recover his place. And
he intentionally fouls someone because he hasn't got the speed.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, and he did that a couple of times tonight. He did it on Saturday as well, a couple of times on Saturday. And you're kind of thinking, look, the one place we have got players, is we've got Brunt. We've not even talked about Boyle, bless him, because he's an absolute journeyman. He just goes in, does his thing, comes out again, takes the criticism or not, depending on how well he plays, or bench warms, So we have got strength in depth in defence. We should be using it, but it is a balancing act because you don't want to change too much. Otherwise, you could start losing clean sheets, which is what do they say? What's the saying? Attackers win games, defenses win championships.
Championships, yeah.
Okay. So just before I move on to this topic, so in general, were you all happy with the defense as a team? Obviously, we kept another clean sheet. They got the job done. Everyone was tired. Any other complaints in general, or all good?
It was just O'Connell, man. I would have swapped him out for Brunt, but other than that, the other two were bang on.
Mm.
You know what I mean? AO was playing great. Barney was the same as last week. He was starting to push people off the ball, which I'm really loving to see. Yeah. So I actually have to admit, I saw more intensity out of Lee today, even though I didn't necessarily subscribe to the absence of Lee thing that happened last week. I definitely saw that hunger, especially in the first half. So, yeah.
Lee had more time on the ball, so we saw more of him this time. But it didn't generate attacking options from the left side enough. He was cutting back in towards the centre, which isn't a bad option and is a different attacking pattern that I think we should be doing more often. But generally, it ended up getting recycled over to the right-hand side for a cross to come back in again. So that, to me, was a little bit unfortunate. We just attacked too much down that right-hand side. I think if we had other options during the match today, that could have really broken up the play.
We have to be careful not becoming a one-trick pony, because sides will work that out quite quickly.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. I think the only reason that they do it so much is I think maybe Parky knows that if the head doesn't come in, he knows that he's got Lee and McLean who can shoot across the goal coming back in. So I think it's one of those kind of things where he's like, oh, okay, shoot for the stars, and if not, you'll hit the moon or something, So, but no, I've been a big one about varying things up as well, and the very fact that they varied it up from left to right a little bit more this week, I actually thought was an improvement. So.
Okay, I'm going to switch here just because it's kind of been mentioned. Varying up the play and switching things up. Fall came on late, didn't get much options. One of the things he did do was he drove in towards the box and then took a cutback pass back across the box, hoping for someone to run in on it. Now, why do we never do any of these style of passes, or very, very rarely? We never see a player driving down the byline in order to pass the ball back, cut it back across, hoping for someone to get on it on a straight shot. We are crossing in almost exclusively. I'm going to throw that out there. Why, as a variation on why are we not attacking in different ways?
I think probably Parky's going with what he feels the players are comfortable with. You've got McLean, you've got Barney on the two wings. They are two excellent crosses in the box. When one is crossing, the other one floats in at the back post. McLean is quite strong physically, so he's good at the back post. Barney not so much. As you said tonight, he was late at one point. He's not really fitted into that yet. And if you looked at him on his on some of his interviews, when he said, "Oh, Parker keeps telling me to go to the near post, so I'm working on that." So it's obviously something he's working at.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we definitely do a lot of long ball stuff, particularly when we're away from home. We go for that target number 9, and then recycle it for second ball down to Mullin or down to Elliot Lee or something like that to then move on that. If the defence works that out, which they did tonight, you could mark Barney out, you could mark McLean out, you could always beef up your back post, and you could cut out Palmer, and you pretty much stopped all the options. It's very difficult for them Wrexham to create anything, and I think that's what we were saying. What you were just saying about why aren't we doing it? I think Parky is playing to what he feels are our strengths, and he doesn't feel that us playing through the field necessarily is a strength, which is not true because you look at some of the great goals we've scored so far this season. They have played from the back through the field, through midfield, up to the front. So, you know,
But
Cannon's got in some absolute worldies.
Yeah. But isn't the whole point on this about variation, as you said? Like I'm not asking for us to change style. I'm not saying they should always, attack through the center. I'm not saying they should always go down the byline, but the variety is what we're missing. And teams have done it to us quite successfully with these cutback passes. Sammy Schmadix did it nicely against us in his match, and he destroyed us by going up that byline and crossing in the box. And if you get the ball in the box like that, people panic. Defenders panic. Everyone's like, "Oh crap, where's the ball going to bounce?" Any little error, and someone can get a toe on it. So that's why I miss something like that. And it's just a variation. It's not that I have a problem with the style. I've no problem with crossing it in. We've had some bad matches where we've not been able to get a lot of crosses and just didn't do anything significant. But I miss that. And McLean in the past has done it too much, going on his own or trying to push in. But at the moment, I don't see him doing it at all, almost.
He's pretty balanced at the moment.
Yeah, he's more balanced. He's a bit better. But, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, at least we didn't get any yellow cards tonight. So Dobson will be playing against Charlton on Saturday, which will be good. But I honestly think Parky is looking at who his strongest 11 players are right now, and he's playing to strengths. And our strength, he feels, are down the wing, cross it in, back post, or centre box, and muscle it in. Because you look at our last set of goals, those are all those kind of goals, and the players will go with what Parky tells them to. They might have a moment of brilliance if they can see an option, if they can see an opportunity. But there's a gameplay, and they'll go to whatever the gameplay is. The thing is, you keep doing that, teams will work us out, and then they will stop that feed, and then we won't score any goals. And this is what I'm worried about: the fact that we managed to nick that one in really early when Rotherham weren't awake.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the 94 minutes,
it wasn't
great.
great.
It was a real struggle. Tonight was the same, a real struggle. Because
we did look better tonight, but again we're home. So,
but as Josh said, five shots, one on target. At home, that's not enough. That's not good enough.
Yeah,
really isn't.
Yeah.
Really isn't.
Is it right to say that Parky is very much if it's not broke, don't fix it? We're winning. We're getting the points. We're up at the top of the leaderboard, and I'm going to keep playing it until they stop us winning. We get a couple of matches, it's not working, or I get injuries. Is he just a reactive manager? Until he has something to react to, I've got my team, let's play it.
Yeah,
I think he plays the percentages, doesn't he, non-PC, I think.
Yeah, but I was also going to say, man, I think at the same time, as fans, we're a bit reactive as well, because when it's going great, we seem to jump on the bandwagon and say, "Oh, let's keep doing it." But when we do get found out, then all of a sudden everyone panics. So I do think that we need to vary things up. I would like to see us start incorporating some underlapping runs, especially from Cannon and Lee, especially considering they already know we're going to our target forward for that cross and Mullen. So, that little cheeky underlapping run from the outer centre mids would actually kind of catch us up, some of those defences out. But at the end of the day, Barney did get that, 16-second assist. So, they've definitely, the skill is there, but at the same time, you don't want to put too much spotlight on Barney to do basically to carry the team basically in attack. So
Okay, guys, I'm just going to take this moment here to call out to everybody as well who's having a nice chat there to come on in and join us. I just put out the link again, so it would be lovely to see someone new in here. Not that I don't appreciate non-PC and Welsh Techie for your time. It's great to have you guys here. But this is like a general conversation, and it would be good to get a couple of more voices. I do see Hip Karma in the comments there, who's been on with us a couple of times. Feel free to come back again if you'd like to have another voice. But guys, if there is anyone new who wants to have a little shout out, come join us. I won't bite. And we will keep this conversation going. We are currently at 35 minutes, so we have loads of time left.
Pip Karma's going to feed her animals,
Oh.
apparently.
Animals to feed, breakfast at morning time. See, all over the globe, we're everywhere. So time zones for everyone. This match is a lovely time for me because all the kids are in bed. The house is quiet. I have nothing to worry about, and only getting to bed late. So that's not really an issue. Okay, so we need another topic. Let's move on a little bit. What do we want to hit next, guys? Midfield. Let's do midfield and just finish that. Anything from midfield? McLean on the left. Barney, obviously, million crosses in, and we just didn't get on the end of them. Most of them were quite nice. A couple wayward, but you expect that. McLean had that lovely cross to Barney, but Barney was maybe 2 steps behind where he should be, or you would want him to be. But happy otherwise with the midfield, because the last match at the weekend, we were not very happy with the midfield. We were getting dominated. Sorry, guys, just 1 sec before we jump there. Michael Pierce is in the background, so he's going to come and join us. Quick thumbs up there, Mike. You ready? Michael, you all good? There's a little delay. Can you give us a thumbs up if you're ready to come in? Good. Okay, here we go. I've learned my lesson from last week. I don't bring people in without checking if they're ready. How are you,
How are
Mike?
you guys doing
Say
today?
hello there. What's your first thoughts there? And then we'll find the new topic. Midfield.
Well, I think our midfield gotta change. We do have the good players, but our tactic stays the same. At some point, whether they're tired or any other reason, we're going to have an issue with the transferring between the midfield to the attacking third. And we do have issues over there every 1-2 games, or at least in halftime when it happens. I think we need to change the tactics itself. I've been saying that since last season, really.
Okay.
And I don't think it's the players. I think it's the position they playing in midfield, or the tactic or way they playing. Always go to the left, then to the right, or just to the right to Barnett.
Yeah. So now, is it fair to say that our midfield is basically just an extension of our defense?
Yes.
That we don't play through our midfield as much as maybe we should. We go
yes, I agree
up
with
and
you.
down the wings.
Yes, but it's not only that. If you look at our attackers, if you look at today's game, we blocked a bunch of shots with our attacking guys, whether it's Smalling or Palmer. That's not their job. Yes, they should be there to help out, but the defense shouldn't count in our half on our attackers to do the blocks, because that's what tired them towards the end too.
Okay.
We need to set up an idea for the midfield to have 2 of them running defense and midfield, and one of our midfield, I would say, probably lead the most, playing more of an attacking midfield. Just like we did last season when he came in with McLean and he cut to the inside, or we had Mendy coming on the right side when we didn't have Barnett, when Barnett was injured. You see a lot of times when he went up and then instead of just going to the mid box, shooting across, he would just cut inside and pass it back for a goal to someone there to catch it.
Yeah.
We need to stop counting on Barnett and McLean to do just the same old thing every time. Mostly Barnett now. We barely even use McLean for crosses. Mostly go to Barnett. We don't have enough variety, like you said earlier. That's our main issue.
Yeah. I agree with you in general. Yes, but I guess our style is our style. And it is wingers. It is going around the midfield rather than playing through it. And the question becomes, at what point is it a problem?
Well, I'm not
Um,
saying we need to change it.
okay,
Not completely. I mean, we
okay,
should concentrate on those because there's no one better than us in attacking through set pieces, which, of course, is basically a set piece
yeah,
in a
okay,
way.
yeah,
There's no one in the league that's better than us in scoring goals from set pieces. But we need to vary this every 4 or 5 attacks go through midfield. We
yeah.
need to
I
mix
can I
it.
can I can agree with that. Definitely. What do you guys think? I think that's fair. That the points are all valid. They're kind of what we did mention. With variety, we need to play around a bit more. And you said it yourself, Welsh. I think that we have the players in the midfield to play more straight through the center.
If you look at Lee last season,
Yeah,
before we got Molin back, he was awesome midfield.
yeah,
He basically played attacking midfield over there for the most part, and he was amazing until we got Molin back, and then he kind of dropped off a little bit.
He's changed his game this season. If you look at what he's doing, but I mean, the issue with him as well, he has a tendency to drift too far forward.
Yeah, he
And
drifted
league
a bit to
captain
the
before.
left too,
Mm,
and he did change, but he didn't start this season. He started last season towards the end.
mm,
I
mm.
I mean, the whole idea of 2 front runners with one big, one small, our tactics is well known to all the other teams. I mean, whether they actually able to do it or not, they do know how to approach us. Not all of them succeed because their players are not as good, but they do know.
but the,
If your eggs in one basket and then one big, one small, because it basically says this is our tactic. It's long ball.
yeah, yeah.
You know, it's not pace. It's long ball, and therefore then the opposing team can know where to put their resources to cut that
Now,
out.
I think our main issue too is if you look at, we all saying, and me too, that Parky time to change formation. I myself said 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, etc. Problem is, if you look at the preseason we had, I think it was the last game we had, or no, the game in Canada, I think. We actually started with a completely different formation.
Yeah, we did.
But
But he,
after 5 minutes,
but he
without
won't.
even Parky saying anything, the whole team just went back to the old formation.
He won't. He won't change his formation. He hasn't changed it in 3 seasons. He's not going to change it now.
Well, more than
No.
that, if you look at his past clubs.
Exactly, but we're set. We're still second in the league. He's not going to change the formation because that's such a drastic thing. You've got to remember these guys train
Yeah.
around that formation. To change your formation to a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3, you would have to radically change
Yeah.
your whole training plan, and there's no way he's going to
No,
do that.
I agree. It's not something you can do
Yeah.
mid-season. But it's
Yeah.
something you can start training not our under 18, but our reserve unit. You can start training them towards it. But it is
Well,
something that needs to be done. The way I see it, past seasons, we played in lower leagues, and they are mostly like us, using brute force to win games, which is really what we do right now. But it's more technical and more about pace in the upper levels than it is brute force. And our formation doesn't meet those criteria.
okay. Again, I think you're right. One thing I would put forward is part of the reason I think our formation, and let's say dinosaur football if you want, or dinosaur tactics. One of the reasons I think we're potentially doing so well is because the teams are not set up to play against teams like this, because there's very few doing it, and certainly there's very few doing it well, because it's an old tactic. They've moved on. They're trying different football, so they don't have time to switch their training tactics to learn a different style to play us either. Whereas in the flip side of that, we have chosen our style, and we know that the majority of teams are going to line up with the new style against us. So our style is working against a lot of them. Plus, we're just a good team. So I think a lot of
agree
that
with what
is
you're
working
saying.
for us for the moment. It's not going to work forever. I think championship is where that ends. Because
That's what I was
too
saying.
good. But if we get / when we get to the championship, there's going to be multiple players that need to be changed or / upgrade / out of contract, and then will be the question: is Parky going to change his tactics at that point? Is he going to get different players and use different formations? Will he change for the championship? I'm not even going to try and answer that question because that's too far down the road.
You won't.
Yeah, I was saying to Aaron, actually, I think it was maybe yesterday or maybe it was a bit earlier than that. After playing the Rotherham game, I was like, man, at the end of the season, I would actually like Parky to put in a bid for Joe Powell from Rotherham, and then maybe change the formation. That's if we go up to the championship and try the 3-4-2-1, like they kind of buy a Leverkusen, or they say it's a 5-2-2-1. Get that box midfield, and then I think we'd play a lot better, and then we'd have the ability to either go down the wings or play through the middle of the field. Because as much as like Dobson is a great defender, but he's not a playmaker. Whereas if we had someone, let's say like Joe Powell from Rotherham to come in, we could have Dobson as that anchor, and we could have someone like Joe Powell as that regista, freeing up Elliot Lee or some of those deep line forwards to pull back into that 2-1 formation. So that's what I personally think. But that's a championship problem.
Yeah.
At present, we just need to beat the league we're in.
Yeah.
And we need to bring in the ingredients for next year. And I think Fowl's one of those projects for the future. So yeah.
Okay. Before we hit all the strikers and change topic, Hip Karma has been waiting in the background there for a little bit, so I want to pull her in here. I'm hoping you're ready, Hip Karma. Let's check.
I am ready.
You are waiting in the back for me, saying, "Let me on, let me on."
Yes, please.
Okay. How are you? And would you like to continue that conversation, or are you ready to pick something else?
I will take some
What's
of
your
that.
thoughts? Go ahead.
I will take some of that conversation. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
And I find it fascinating, and I'm glad you clarified, not PC, that you're talking championship, because when you're talking about Dobson, less than 3 games ago, he was the second coming for everybody. And then suddenly Dobson's not a playmaker and all he is a defender and passes the ball. Dobson has been one of the anchors in our midfield this season from the get-go. It may be, and it is certainly going to be true, that there's going to be a need to upgrade some players into the championship when we get there. Can I just be clear? When we get there, or when we are almost there. At the moment, as Paddy was saying, as I drove back from my chiropractic appointment, so there's my Siri, sorry. We are doing well. Has everybody suddenly decided that we need to go up this season? The vast majority of us would have been happy at the beginning of this season and the first few matches in to get to playoffs, to be upper mid-table and get to playoffs. And suddenly the world is ending and we need to change everybody. We need to sell Mullen, and it's a loss when we get a draw at home. Can we take a breath? Can we take a breath? We are second in the table. Yes, other teams have a game in hand. We are second. Did we really honestly think over the summer that we were going to be second in the table at this point? Come on, anyone? Anyone? Bueller? No, we didn't. And so why is it a loss that we get a draw, that we held a team that last season was in the championship to a draw at home? I think that's awesome. Did our team not get out there and give it their best shot? Were they not held against some awesome defence? And we held them. How often were we in their half compared to how often they were in our half? I thought it was an excellent game. I really did. The only thing that I did not like about that game was that I had to leave at minute 86 to go to the chiropractor. I was sitting in the car park listening, and at the 86th minute, I went, damn it, I have to go. So I came back, and so the first thing I heard was WREXtra Time as I'm driving back from the chiro, and it sounded like I had to check the score down the bottom because everyone was talking about like we'd lost. And I thought,
Hip Carmen, it's exactly what I said in the other feed. Okay. Yes, it's disappointing when we're at home. At home, we should be winning matches, but you're not going to win all the matches, and that's a fact.
No, you're not,
Yeah.
and that's it.
A fact. And I said in the previous stream, we 2 years ago we were in the National League, and we'd been there for 15 years, and the club struggled. We are taking on a side who was relegated from the Championship last season and has been in the Premiership in the last 5 years, and we have gone toe-to-toe with them, and we have matched them. That is impressive.
That is awesome. That is so awesome. Why are we not celebrating that? Why cannot we not just take a step back from what happened this immediate match in the last hour and go, oh my God, look where this team is. Look at the kind of talent that we have. Look, we actually have some depth on the bench. Yes, it's a bit scary that JM has a broken leg. It is. But if Miles had broken his leg last season at this time when he'd just come back, it would have been a whole lot worse. We would have been devastated and we wouldn't have come up. I could almost guarantee we would not have come up. This season, we had the benefit of JM for that whole period where Miles was out and not 100% as he's coming back. I'd like to point out, and I said it in the chat, that it was only in the last 2-week break that Miles has said, I stopped feeling pain. It all felt right. I didn't feel anything wrong. He's not quite 100% yet. He nearly is. But imagine now, as we said earlier over summer, imagine a pain-free Mullen and what he's going to bring when he is 100% match fit. I'm excited about that. We have so much to be excited about at the moment that I'm scared that we're going to get lost in the weeds and nitpick that we only got a draw. It might as well have been a loss. No, it was a draw. We still got a point.
Welcome to the Wrexham fan family. The amount of times that I've sat in a pub around with Wrexham fans, and we're doing incredibly well. Often against the odds because we don't have the resources available, or we've pulled an amazing result out of the bag against somebody who is far superior. And you will always have one person who will be like, yeah, but that's not good enough. We should be doing this, that, and the other. Unfortunately, that is part of A, football, and B, the Wrexham family. I predicted pre-season that we were going to be 9th at the end of this season. I would be delighted with 9th right now. I think actually promotion this season would be a mistake because we're not ready. And I'm not just talking about on the pitch. On the pitch, we would struggle. Off the pitch, we're not ready. The infrastructure is not ready. We were a non-league club 2 years ago. We're still building. We need time. That takes time. I know fans want success. They want everything now. Of course they do. We all want Wrexham to be successful because it's our club. We get that. But to have to build a structure that is going to stand the test of time, you need good foundations. If those foundations are poor, the whole thing will come crashing down. We need to get those foundations in place first, get all the stuff, all the dominoes in the right place, all the books in the right place, all the bricks in the right place, and build it up and get it so we've got a nice solid foundation. Then we can kick on. Because if we go to the Championship this season, I guarantee you next season we will get beaten by everybody and we will come straight back down, and that's not good for morale.
No.
You'll find the fans will turn against the club, they will turn against the manager. You will have a drop off of fans who, there is a percentage of fans from wherever they are from who do latch on to success, and as soon as Wrexham stop winning on a regular basis, they will stop going, and you will find that drop off, because it happens to every single club in every single league. So it's important that we build now a strong, firm foundation. Promotion this season is a mistake. I would be more than happy. I would be delighted if we got into the playoffs. I'd be absolutely delighted, because then we massively would be far exceeding our expectations. But I've predicted ninth. I predicted a nice, solid mid-table. Getting in there, getting our ducks in a row, so we can start bringing those players on, as you rightly said. And as non-PC said earlier, bringing those slightly better quality players into the right positions. Maybe looking at the tactics. As Michael said earlier, maybe we should do some changes and whatever, but don't rush it. Don't panic. Don't say we've got to get promoted this season. We don't. As you rightly said, we should be looking at results like this. We're at home. We've taken on a very, very good Huddersfield side, and we've matched them. And that is, we should be very, very proud of.
Preach. Thank you so much. It is so nice to hear someone else say that, because I do have the feeling that when I said that last month, that I don't need for us to go up this season. I don't want us to do it. There is so much more that we need to do in terms of infrastructure and foundational work. But that's not sexy to say. And so I'll say this in a deeper voice. I will be very happy when we stay here in this league next season. Does that make it sound better? Does it?
No. Okay. I'm going to let everybody speak before I speak on this topic.
Okay.
Because there are some things I disagree with in that. So I'm going to wait till the very end. So who wants to go next? What do you on this topic?
Well, first things first. I hope Hip Karma hasn't got me wrong. I would never be talking about replacing Dobson. That formation I was talking about, it would have been a two deep midfielders. So you would have had a Dobson on one side and Joe Powell on the other. So they would be working together. There would be no replacement. It's just that in the same way that Elliot Lee is much better as an attacker than he is a defender, Dobson is much better as a defender than he is as let's say a playmaker. So what I mean, it's all about min-maxing. Yeah. But anyway, pretty much everything Welsh Checky said, I agree with. I predicted that we would be bottom of the playoffs positions, and if we did better than that, then I would be happy. I would even go so far to say that if we ended up in the playoffs, that it would be in our best interest to tank it, to be brutally honest, because you never, I mean, winning at Wembley is great, but if you go up and then you become the team that basically gets bullied by every other team, then people want to leave the club, because, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, we've got a no dickheads policy, but everyone's a dickhead when they get there. Actually, I won't use the usual term that I would use.
Hand it to them.
Oh, no, I was going to use something else, but which is a little bit more vulgar.
That works.
Yeah. But yeah, I've always said, man, when you start to lose, instead of pats on the backs, you start getting finger pointing, and that turns a team against each other, and it happens to the best of them. So there's a point as a Wrexham fan that I want to sit there and have the bragging rights of back to back to back, but I don't believe it's in the best interests of the club yet, unless I see some huge difference or there's some huge investment that comes in. Yeah, but I'm willing to be convinced.
Michael?
Yes, so I agree with most of what you all said. First of all, about the infrastructure, I said that in the Discord channel, I don't know, a few days ago, and a lot of people disagreed with me that the infrastructure got nothing with us being good in the championship or not, which I pushed against, but I guess a lot of people disagreed with me about that. But I do agree. I mean, we did play good today. I think, other than O'Connell, I don't think anyone played bad. I don't know, O'Connell wrong position or tired or what, but other than him, in my opinion, everyone played great. I think the pushback we having about we should have won or it's kind of a loss. I think it's more to the like that because we had people around us with a game in hand. It's not that we played bad. It's just that don't see us as second place, but more like somewhere between second and fifth because of the game in hand, not because we lost. I actually imagine when we came into the season, I figured we'll probably be playoffs. Now, about what you guys said about if we go up right now, it's wrong because then we'll get relegated and people will leave us. You can say the same thing as we start in second place in the start of the season, and all of a sudden we don't go. You can say the same thing about fans all around the world. Oh, we started so good. What happened to us? We crap, and they would leave. You can say the same way the other way around. I personally think we could go up this season, and championship is when we do need to stay for a few years, 3-4 years at least, to get the infrastructure up to par. I don't think if we go up, we'll get relegated right away. I don't think so. We're going to have our summer transfer window. We're going to bring players. I'm
Yes,
pretty
Michael.
sure that Ryan and Rob and whoever that actress that just invested from Spain or Mexico invested, I'm sure we're going to bring investors in. We are going to pull, if we go up this season, we're going to pull, what you call them, Birmingham, when we bring a lot of hot players, in my opinion. We will struggle, but we will stay up in championship. And that's where we need to bring it up and stay there for a few years to bring the infrastructure back up. That being said, we do need to worry about an extra striker. I don't know if we got any loans we can bring, if anyone got transfer windows open around the world. Because that's the
Just
rule
yet,
about
actually.
loans. We can bring in a loan
Okay.
if where we bring it from the transfer window is open, we can do it.
Okay. Let's leave that talk just for a moment. We'll move on after this to the strikers and all the issues there. But I'm going to throw my 2 cents in on this one before we finish. Okay. And I'm gonna let you know exactly where I stand. My prediction for start of the season is hopeful to be making a nice challenge for the playoff spots at some point. Maybe get there, maybe not. I'm very comfortable with that. If we don't go up this season, I'm very comfortable with that too. I don't expect to go up. But if anybody thinks that the club is not aiming to try and get promoted this year, you're crazy. I'm not saying you guys have said that, but some people have said it. Absolutely, they want to go up. They want to go back to back to back. So that's the aim, I guess. Now, if we go up, I think Michael is very much right. Money will be spent. Money will be put into players, and we will be given the funds and the facilities to increase our squad in order to not get relegated. But the danger is there with the fan base that Wesh Techie brought up, which I agree with, is a lot of people who maybe haven't been there before have no idea how negative it can get if you are losing matches. So something that the club has to maybe consider now maybe they won't do this, but I think they absolutely should, is they have to completely temper expectations if we get into the championship this year. They have to not tell people, oh, we want to be up in the top half, or we want, we're expecting to blow the championship away or whatever. They have to be realistic with the people and say, this season is about survival. We are going to go as far as we can go, but the aim is not to come back down again. And they have to put that expectation in there, because there's going to be a lot more losses, a lot more draws if we get up there. Now, that will make amazing football if they put that out there and say that, look, the danger this year is coming back down and we need to get our points. That'll be brilliant football. And that's the sort of drama that people will love, driving people to the club. So, yeah, I disagree with this mentality. We're not ready to go up, or we can't go up. I think it's a massive risk for clubs in general if you go up through the playoffs and you're like 5th or 6th in the league. You're not ready. You don't have, but then those teams generally don't have the funds to add their players. They have to work with what they got, and they come back down. We're not in that situation. Absolutely, we're going to bring in new players to help us survive. So I don't look at it in that sort of pessimistic football mentality, waiting for the other shoe to drop and something is going to go wrong. But absolutely, things can get very negative if you're losing, and if you're not expecting to lose as well. So expectations, if we go up, must be tempered. Now, if we stay here for another year, every single year, we're just going to get better and better, because more funds will come in, players will get better until we get promoted out of here. So I've no issue with, we will go up at some point. But the facilities we need, all the training facilities and stuff like that, it's going to come, and it's not going to come quick. We have an agreement for the training pitches for the next 3 years. So that's what we have. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. And if some players don't want to join us because we don't have the fancy pitches and training facilities and Academy of Light and Academy of Excellences and all of these fancy words for nice pitches and pools and all of this sort of stuff, so be it. They'll go to another club. Maybe that happened already this season. And maybe Bolton, with that player McAtee, might be staying down in the league as we're going up. So let's see what happens at the end of the season. But look, it is what it is. We have facilities. They're good enough for the Welsh teams. For the Welsh international team, it is what it is. It's good enough. We'll make do.
Well, I gotta say something about that. The train facilities, yeah, it's good for the Welsh team. They don't play as much as we do. The fact, and it's not
Agreed.
just about not getting players because
Mhm.
we have this train facility or this train facility. You need to also remember we share that train facility. That is the main issue.
Yeah. Okay.
We need
Fair.
to fight for the time to train. And that's dropping the quality of our training.
Fair point.
And that will not hold if we go up. We need to get more time on the field, more time on training. We can't share and start fighting on whose time it is to train on the pitch. Whether it's the Welsh, I think there's another team or two using that as well. We can't do that. We need our own training field.
Okay. Fair enough. I think we're ready to move on then, are we? Or any last comments on that?
Rathbone for Cannon to start on Saturday. Cannon's not up to speed. Rathbone, I think, was much sharper when he came on, so I think you'd start Rathbone for Cannon. That was the only change midfield on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, midfield good.
And Brunt for O'Connell.
Front for O'Connell in the back, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so then we're getting to, I suppose, one of the main topics, which is our strikers up the front. Mullen, tired, obviously. He's playing a lot, and he's maybe not ready for that amount of time. He's going to be playing again this weekend. Fall didn't get the minutes. He came on for basically 10 minutes. So there's a big question mark about that. before we hit those, there's a lot of talk about new players. Okay, so one question I would just like Welsh Techie maybe to clarify for me, which is the idea of bringing in free transfers. There has been talk, and we mentioned it on recent streams, about the MLS. So the MLS finish up soon enough. But technically, those players would not have been out of contract in this summer. So none of them would be eligible until the January window. Is that correct?
So the way I understand it, we can bring either free transfers, people without a contract, or we can bring loaners as long as where we loan them from is having a transfer window open.
Okay.
So if MLS got a transfer window open, we can bring a loan from there, or Spain or wherever. I don't know where they got transfer windows open at the moment, but for loans, we need them to have a transfer window open, not us.
The problem you're going to have is work permits.
Yes,
It's always a problem with international players, and particularly because of Brexit now, we can't take anybody under 18 anymore from Europe. So it's always an issue. It's not simple. It's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult to get a work permit.
Well, first of all, we don't need someone under 18. We do have spots open, and you can bring someone between 18 to 21. And I'm pretty sure the work permit also you can do a momentary one that is only viable until they get the process improved. And that's enough time to get some of our people back on their feet.
So the question I've got is if you take an MLS player who perhaps has never played in the English leagues, are they going to be better than getting a free agent who has already played in the English leagues? Is the question. Are you going to be getting something of a better quality?
Well, it really depends on who you bring in. I mean, it's not as simple as European players automatically better than MLS players who you can bring from Europe that is want to play in League One and not Premier League, or bring in a loaner. A loaner also would be better for our finances, really.
Parky doesn't like loaners. Conco was an exception, and Conco was an exception, and we ended up buying him. So the problem is he doesn't like them. He prefers to buy players and just have them in the system.
So to clarify, just I think you've basically answered it, but to clarify, the MLS when their season is finishing, technically we can bring those players over, assuming everything else goes right. Is that correct?
Not MLS specifically, because I don't know.
I'm talking about MLS. I'm asking Techie now for 1 sec, Mike.
Oh.
As far as I'm aware, providing that the whatever league that is coming from is in its transfer window, but the problem is I think it still has to be free agents or loaners. I still think they have to be out of contract whatever happens. You can't just take somebody at will if they're not.
Yeah, but at the end of the season, then people could be released from their contract.
It could be, yeah, it could be.
Yeah, so technically it's possible. Difficult, I'm not worrying about that, but just technically we could. Okay.
It is technically possible, yes.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that have we completely mined out what we already have in the UK? I'm not saying for 1 second that there aren't better players abroad, but have we absolutely explored all the avenues of what is currently in the UK for free agents? And if we haven't, are we going to get better players from the MLS or abroad is the question.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because that was a question from one of our other videos that didn't get answered. People were talking about this back and forth. So Racecourse has a player in mind here. Okay, hang on. I missed the name. Go back. Where's the name? Why can't I see it? Matt put a name up there and I cannot find it. Oh, there we go. Hang on. Connor Wickham. Do you know Connor Wickham, Ashteki?
Yes, he's Charlton, I think, isn't he? He was Charlton, I believe, and I think he was at Sunderland as well, possibly.
Sunderland, no.
Yeah.
Or was it Sunderland as well?
I know Parky's worked with him before, I think.
Yeah. So here it is. Parky has worked with him before at Sunderland.
Yeah.
He's as good as we can get right now. So yeah, so he was at Sunderland and then he moved, I guess, to where you know him from. Does that sound like an option for you?
What's his age? I'd like to have a look at him, to be honest. I don't know him that well.
Okay. Do you want to take 2 minutes and have a look at him and we'll discuss just general strikers? Okay.
He signed with Charlton in March and left them in July. Is there a reason for
some
it?
form of disagreement, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, we're going to discuss just our strikers and up front and today and Fal. So hit camera, do you want to say anything about that? You've been quiet there for a little bit.
I have been quiet there for a little bit because it's gone 9 a.m. over here in Australia, and I might have looked at some work stuff. I have no idea who this gentleman is, so I am waiting keenly. I did appreciate John Merrill's comment because that's explaining information to me that I didn't have.
Well, at the moment, basically, I'm just asking about the match and our strikers. So whatever you'd like to say about that. Yeah, because Techie's going to look up that player and then we'll go back.
Okay, so actually I do have a question with regard to that because, as I said, I missed from minute 86 on. So how did Fal play? The last I heard and saw was that Moles had sent the ball over to him and he was having to race to get it, and then he almost got it and was just beaten to it. How did he play for the rest of his time on the pitch?
I would say he did okay. He just had so little time.
Yes.
He had a nice pass back, cut back into the box that nobody got on the end of. He seemed to be trying his best and getting into okay positions from the little that I got to see.
Okay.
Was my take. Anyone else? Happy with Fal's performance for his 10 minutes?
I think Fal played better than the first time, that's for sure. He did better than last time too, even though he scored that scissor kick last game. Only issue I got with Fal is I think he does have pace. I think his starting sprint is not good though. It takes him a while to get to his actual speed. That's what I think the issue is with him. And if you look, he had a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but a couple of good places when the ball went wide over his head and he could have like jumped to hit it with his head, but he didn't. I think he's counting too much on his height that he doesn't need to basically jump for a headbutt, which need to be fixed, but all around is decent. I mean, he didn't play bad, that's for sure. He didn't play bad at all. I think he should have gotten more minutes and Palmer should have been replaced around minute 75 and not wait that long to give him more minutes. I actually expect him to probably start next game. We can't have Palmer playing so long. I mean, he doesn't have it in him anymore.
I think his speed was generally okay. Yes, he takes a little bit of time to get up to top speed, but considering everybody else was so tired, you know, he was a fresh pair of legs, and I definitely think he should have came on earlier, just simply for the movement and the speed he could have produced.
Yeah, totally agree. As I said, I think he actually got good speed, but other people don't see it because he always got to get a slow sprint to get to his actual speed. His sprint is the issue, not the actual max speed. I think the biggest issue is Molin, as everyone knows. We don't have a replacement for him unless you, as we said earlier, put Rathbone in his place, which we did once. He wasn't bad. He wasn't good, but he wasn't bad. McLean is out of the question.
Okay, so 2 questions for the weekend then. If you can try and keep your answers a little shorter. Would you then play play him over Palmer this weekend? Yes or no? Would you start him? Foul.
Me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Techie?
No,
No. Okay.
no.
Hip
I
camera?
put Palmer.
No, I'd sub at halftime though.
Okay. Or a bit later. PC?
Funnily enough, I actually agree with Hip Karma. Give him
Okay.
some minutes,
That's
but
wild.
not. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, give him some more minutes, but yeah, I mean, give them both 45 minutes. They should be able to deal with that. Actually, they could probably even deal with that for a bit. You know what I mean? So 45 minutes isn't the worst thing in the world.
But Parky ain't going to do that. We all know.
No,
He's
I know
not
that.
going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
put
No,
a
of course
sub
not.
in
Yeah.
every
No, that's
game.
fine. Let's not dive down that hole. We all know he's not going to do it. Okay, I wouldn't start him. I would put Palmer on, but I would put Fowl on at the 60 minutes, because at least then Fowl knows what the position of the team is. Are we behind? Are we ahead? Or whatever. I wouldn't put him on first and put the pressure on him that if he messes up, then he has potentially lost the match for us. That's something I would like to potentially avoid, is everybody dumping on him if something goes wrong. Because a couple of situations, if we get to 60 minutes and we're losing 2-0, there's absolutely no problem with putting Fall on. And if we end up continuing to lose the match, so be it. He gets time with the boys. He needs time to get better. And there are situations where he will come on and things go wrong, he'll be blamed, but less so, I think, once we know what's already happened at 60 minutes. And he
Well,
gets to see the match. He gets to see what people are doing. He gets to see the tactics of the other team. And Parky can manage him for the whole time, or Parkin or someone can sit beside him and say, right, watch this, watch that player, watch how he does this. This is how he'll try and get around you when you come on. This is his tactics, so you can talk him through the match before putting him on. But I would put him on earlier. Absolutely.
Well,
He needs the minutes.
Give him minutes Saturday, starting in the FA Cup.
Yes, good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Just
well,
do
I
that.
agree with you guys that if Parky would be willing to actually sub during the 50, 60 minutes, then yeah, Palmer should start.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't and he's going to wait for the 80 minutes, I prefer Fall to start.
In that scenario, I agree with you. I would put him out there, and if we lose the match, we lose the match. I think we need to blood Fall in. He needs to be thrown to the wolves, if that's the case.
And Charleston's going to be a hard game as well.
Oh,
And
well,
it's
absolutely.
away, if I'm not mistaken, right? We're
It
playing
is away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We
then
do
we
need
have
to figure out Mullin.
Okay, yes. So the second question was going to be then Mullen. Who do we put in to give Mullen some time? He can't do. I don't think he can do 90 minutes in the next match.
He can.
Look, you can drive him.
You will break him.
Yeah,
you will break him. That's the plan. It's not that he can't.
yeah.
He can, but you will break him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, that's what I meant. But
We don't have
Actually,
anyone.
shouldn't
it might
then, I
be-
suppose.
It could be a good idea to maybe put McLean up there as that pressing forward and give Revan some minutes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, McLean will harass the fuck out of him.
He will.
And, at that later end, you could even have Fal in there. So Fal could be your finisher. He could be the person just making sure that they've never got time on the ball in the back. And then that would obviously open up Revan. And, maybe even gives Bolton a chance to get some really late minutes into the game as well. So who knows?
Well, Raven play on the left and Bolton normally play on the right side.
Yeah, I was saying that because Revan's the more attacking and then Bolton's the more defensive.
Yes.
So it would be the opposite, basically the same thing we did last season.
Put Revan on the right.
Actually, what happened? Why not do overlaps? Why not put Bolton and Barnett together, Barnett up and Bolton down, and have them overlapping each other all the time? That I think could be also a good thing. The thing is, We already had McLean doing mauling position before. We did have that. And we had Rathbone. And to be honest, I prefer Rathbone up front. He's got more, I see him having more speed. More running after the ball faster than McLean.
When it comes to Rathbone, I'm just not. I haven't really seen too much of his finishing, to be brutally honest. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. But if you put Rathbone up front, you don't need him to be the finisher. He can also always pass down backwards to Lee or to the sides, just for him to get to the ball up front, like he did the first time he played for us. He played up front, and he was chasing the ball nonstop. I think a bunch of time he got to the ball in their half before they did, more than once. He's a good chaser.
Oh, he's great. But he's, in my opinion, he's a better cam. So, I mean, unless you wanted to change the formation, but Parky's not going to do that. So,
let's not get too into the weeds on little changes here and there and who plays here and there. Because Parky will do what Parky will do. I don't think there's too much point in doing that. So, Washteki, you said that you are kind of convinced that we will get someone in sooner rather than later. That we cannot wait till January.
I put my house on it.
Okay, fine. So you said you don't know who or when or whatever. That's fine. And even if you do, you won't tell us. That's perfectly fine too. So Connor Wickham, John Merrill put up a comment here. Our friend from Birmingham. Connor Wickham, big target man, centre forward, was a real handful and played the majority at championship level. But last few moves haven't worked out for him. No idea why. So you were having a quick look there, Techie. What did you see? What did you find? And what do you think?
10 years ago, he was worth 10 million euro.
Mm-hmm.
He's currently valued at 200,000.
Yeah.
175.
Literally, in the last 2 years, his value has dropped off a cliff.
Okay.
And he's done a lot of moves. He's played in the very much in the lower leagues. Preston, obviously, his championship, but then he went down to MK Dons and Forest Green when they were in League Two.
Really?
Then he was without a club.
He was there when they got relegated.
Before they were relegated, before Forest Green were relegated, when they were in League Two. In fact, I think that when they were in League One, actually, because it's 2022, so it's possible then when they were in League One. But
because they went back to back down.
Yes.
So he was with them when they were in League One. So probably the season they lost came down to 2. He didn't stay with them, and then they went down again.
Same with MK Dons, I think, because MK Dons were in League One at that point.
Because they were in League One as well. So so he was League One.
It was League One, then Cardiff, then Cardiff. But again, he's going without a club, then to a club, then without a club, then to a club. Then he went to Charlton last season, and as Michael rightly said, he wasn't at Charlton long. Again, he might have been brought in the same that Wrexham might use him, as in he's brought in for a very, very short period of time to plug a gap. But
6 months,
my concern is, he's worth 200,000. How good is he? His last contract finished on the 1st of July 2024, and he's been without a club since. So what's he been doing as a free agent? Has he been training with another club? He obviously hasn't been playing with another club. You don't know what he's got. He's 30. He's 31. I mean, as I say, he's played at all senior levels. He's played Premiership down because he was at Crystal Palace. He was at he's been at Sunderland, Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday. He's definitely been the journeyman and gone round the clubs. And as John said, obviously he's quite a big bloke because he's 1.9 meters high, so that's 6 foot. So he's obviously a big lad. So as a replacement for Palmer, maybe he could be the player. My concern would be that obviously as a free agent, they've not played for a while potentially because the contracts normally finish, don't they, around the same time in that summer or January. Yeah. What's he been doing since? But certainly, I think the other advantage is, and we've seen that Parky goes for this already with players like George Dobson. if he's worked with them before, he gravitates towards them because he knows what
Yeah.
he's going to get, or he's got an idea what he's going to get. So if he can catch that, and to be fair, apart from, I don't want to heap on him because it's not fair. Apart from one player, the majority of the signings that Parky's made have worked, and that's
Yeah.
quite rare in football to get that much of a success rate when you buy in players for that many players to work well. So, you never know. He's the right. Let's put it this way: if he is the player, he's the right kind of player. He's the right kind of age. He's not one for the future. He's absolutely one to plug a gap in the very short term and do a specific job until we can either get players back from injury or work out, because when we come to January, all this will change, because when we get to January, we will know where we're going to be. Are we going seriously for promotion, or are we expecting to be in League One? That will change the whole transfer ethos, because we will look to either shore up what we got or try and get players which are of the championship level, and so we will have to work out a strategy from that point of view. But yeah, I mean, as a player, he's not. What's the saying where I come from? You wouldn't kick him out of bed for farting. a little bit crude, I'll grant you, but that's what we would say. Yeah, he's again, I've never seen him and I know nothing of him, but by his credentials and by his experience and his levels, this player is potentially somebody, but who knows?
So in League One, he played 16 games, scored 6 goals. Championship, he played 12 games, scored 1 assist, 2. League One again, 4 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. Now, if you look at the time he played in each club, it's not just Charlton. You look at Cardiff, he joined him in February, left in July. Charlton, he joined in March, left in July. Before that, Forest Green, August, left in January. I mean, there's a reason they don't keep him. He's doing something in every club he's been at. And
that's what I'm saying. He's been brought in to do a specific short-term job to fill a gap. He is not a player you're going to keep for 2 or 3 years. He is a player who is going to come in, do one specific thing for a very short period of time, and then go.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is if you take a player and he plays 16 games and scores 6 goals and do 2 assists, you don't get rid of him right away. There's no reason to, unless something else is going on.
Could have a fitness problem. We just don't know, because obviously there might be some kind of underlying injury that he's prone to. It's possible. You just don't know.
The number of goals and assists seems quite significant for the little amount of time he's getting. And you have to factor in as well here is the limited playing time with the rest of the team. So he's coming in, playing with new people constantly, and his numbers look good. So he's able to link up with the other players, he's able to figure it out, and he's able to get on the end of the ball.
And he barely get any cards too, by the way. Other than 2 yellows, he never got a card since 2020. Even then, only 1 yellow, which is really weird for a striker not to get yellows or reds.
Does anyone think we don't need to do anything till January? Does anyone think we can survive till January with the situation we have as it looks right now?
No.
We need something up front. Otherwise, we will get. What we were saying earlier about some people saying about some teams have got a game in hand and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'm not being negative, Hit Karma, before you.
We'll slide.
I'm not going to do that, okay? But if we don't keep scoring goals, eventually it will catch up with us, because other teams will score goals, and we can't keep it out forever. You have to score goals to keep on a level path. So we need that upfront service, and if we're not going to get it, we will struggle. I think we need to do something. As I said, Paddy, it will happen. You can put your house on it.
Well, we really have just 2 options. Either bring another striker, or even 2, or change formation. That's the only option we got. We can't wait until January.
One of those is much more likely to happen than the other.
With Parky, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree that we should be looking at options. It's unrealistic, from my perspective, to believe that the strikers are going to be able to last as they are through to the January window. Even with File coming online, he can't sub for both of them. It's physically not possible, particularly if something has happened to Fletch and we don't know how long he's going to be down for.
He said couple of weeks.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that might be
he
the
said a
tip of the
couple weeks,
iceberg.
2 to 3
Yeah.
weeks.
Might be the tip of the iceberg, and the fact that he can't do more than 15 minutes at the moment is a worry for me because
Yes,
he tried
big worry.
starting and he's not
He's not.
he's not there. He's not there.
And he just
unfortunately.
came back from injury too.
I know, and I love the guy. I really do.
Yeah.
I would marry the guy if I was Butterside up, but he's amazing. But he is somebody who his career is definitely now starting to wind down, and this level I think is just that little bit too much for his body to handle. But as a football, the sad thing about it is his brain is razor sharp. He
Yeah.
just can't quite turn that into physical action. But I want to marry the guy. I think he's amazing. I really do.
And I hope the club keeps him and that he moves into the coaching staff as well. I think
That'd be lovely. Yeah, that'd be good
Awesome.
because he could really, for the younger players, he'd be an absolute godsend because he would, the amount of stuff that he's done in his career and experienced to take on him to give that to the academy guys or the under 21s would be invaluable.
Precisely.
Yeah. Frankie S has put a shout out there. Been great hearing new voices, but big shout out to Welsh Techie's insight on TLP. So you got a fan?
You're here.
You're welcome.
Hey.
Just if you want to listen to more crap, come and listen to the pod.
Oh yeah, this
We've
is
got
why he's
loads
here.
of
Look to
I am.
big up his own podcast. That's the only reason he's here.
I've got a book coming out, and I'm doing. No, I'm joking. Not really.
No, he's got a great podcast, guys. Go listen
All it is, to be honest with you, Frankie, is it's just somebody who, as I said today, funny enough, I put on a post. My grandfather took me to my first Wrexham match in 1973 when I was 4 years old. We played Walsall in August. It was the first match of the season, and apparently we won. Although I don't remember it because I was only 4. And I've been going to Wrexham ever since. Through the great, I remember. I'm going to sound really old now, I'm sorry about this, but I remember the 77-78 season, the one basically which all Wrexham fans of a certain age talk about because it's the most successful Wrexham had ever been. That's when we got up to the Championship and our highest position, which I think was 9th in the Championship. That team was incredible. It was amazing. This team so far is close. It's very, very close. And I've seen the teams go from up there to all the way down there, and that's all it is. It's just years and years of being in love with your club and your town and watching it week in, week out. And don't get me wrong, I am very, very grateful for where we are right now, and I do not take any of it for granted because I remember I was one of those people who put money in when we were in big trouble. When we were basically, they were saying we've got to pay 150 grand tomorrow, or they kick us out of the league and we have to go right back down to the bottom of the pyramid, which would have been, tier 8 or tier 9 with all the pub teams, and I chucked in 100 quid. I didn't have 100 quid, but I chucked it in because we needed to save the club. And I knew that everybody else, I was one of the people who protested against Hamilton because you could see what he was doing to the club. You could see what he was trying to do. So I've been at the good bits and I've been at the bad bits, and I absolutely love where we are right now, and I do not take any of it for granted at all because it is that whole Charles Dickens thing. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best of times because we have a great family now worldwide who love the club as much as I do, which is brilliant. They're interested in football, so you're getting people interested in football, which is a great game. And you have that family feel that the town that I grew up in, we all work together. If one person needs something, we all band together. If I've got a loaf of bread and somebody needs bread, I'll give them half a loaf of bread. That's how the club works. And it's great to see everybody else taking that on and adopting that. And that's all it is, Frankie. It is just a passion for your club. The problem with the Premiership these days is it's so corporate. And I would imagine a lot of sports are around the world. There are certain sports now which are very, very corporate, and they don't have that grassroots or community feel about them anymore. Wrexham does. Wrexham is absolutely all about the community. We all love the club. We all look after the club. We all respect the club. And with a majority, should I say, we all respect each other. Yes, there are some people who are arseholes. You get them everywhere, unfortunately. But the good thing about it is you can discount them because often there are very, very few of them. And if any of them do start to kick off, the majority of us will always side with each other and stand up against them. So, we just love the club, and that's why we're all here. We just love the club.
Okay, well done.
I wanted to touch a point on something that John Merrill just said in the chat.
Yeah, I'm getting onto it now. Two seconds. Thanks. Then Josh is in the house. He says we have no depth. Just throwing that out there, seeing as Josh is listening to us. Hey, Josh, thanks for that. We have no depth. Yeah, it's kind of looking that way in some areas. Okay, so yes, this is our next one. John Merrill. Am I missing something? But aren't you essentially JM down from a forward point of view? Do you really want to take on a free agent and give them a year plus contract? Well, as we're saying, it would probably be a 6-month/9-month contract or whatever it is, max in that scenario. But yes, we are not just JM down. Before the season started, we had 7 strikers. We put 2 out on loan. We re-upped the contract for Fletcher, and Fletcher is now injured. He was kind of a super sub for the last 20 minutes, but can't really do a full match very often. And now his knee was swelling up the weekend. So he is now out for another 3 weeks. We didn't get in a replacement or a substitute for Palmer, our main second striker role. So we ended up with Mo Fall. Mo Fall is a bit younger. He's raw. He's not ready. And certainly it looks like Parky doesn't believe he's ready to be the main man. So at the moment, that really leaves us with very, very little up front. Pretty much.
This all comes down to not doing that bit in the summer, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah.
We did everything else in all the other positions really, really well, but we didn't really do the business up front.
Midfield.
And that. Now we're paying the price.
Yeah, and everyone was saying about that in the summer. Where is our forwards? Where is our attackers? We need more strikers. And all we kept getting is more defenders, more midfielders. So the thing is, we did bring Fall in, but it was really originally no choice. We need to bring someone because everyone's shouting for a striker, and he's more of a replacement for Palmer than Molin. Other than Jam, we don't have anyone for Molin. And what I was going to say, but you already said it, we don't have to sign someone for a year plus. We can sign someone for less than that.
Yeah.
It's not a minimum year to get someone in.
No, because we'll pay him good wages. Simple as that.
No, I'm just saying some people...
He'll get decent money weekly or whatever, and we'll sign him till the end of the season maybe just to have as coverage. But,
yeah. Some people think we have to sign for a minimum of a year. That's not true. I'm just putting it out there. We did need from the get-go to have more than one sub for Poland. We can't have just JM. We need to bring someone, and we need to bring someone that will stay.
Yeah, and so there's the comment here with Bruce that follows on this. He says it wasn't for lack of trying. Signing Mo Fall didn't stop the effort to sign an experienced big striker. Correct. We're not saying they didn't try in the summer. We're saying they didn't get it done. Yeah. And ultimately, that's the responsibility of the club. And look, it happens. Not every team gets perfect summer windows. And we had a lovely summer window, bar, up front. And if we didn't have these injuries, we wouldn't have any issues whatsoever. But the one area we didn't get it over the line, we're now lacking and now running into issues.
Well, the thing is also is the money. We always say that we want to pay smart and not overpay. But sometimes we just have to overpay. We don't have a choice. Weren't we in the race to get, what's his name, that signed with Birmingham in the end? What's his name?
Alfie May. No.
Yeah, Alfie May. Weren't we on the race to get him as well? But we didn't want to pay another 100,000 to get him? We should have gotten him. We should have
Funnily
paid the
enough,
extra 100,000 and got him.
actually, I kind of actually stand with the club, man, because you don't negotiate with terrorists. You know what I mean? Like, if you start, the moment Wrexham starts spending big money on strikers, midfielders, whoever the hell it is, then that's exactly what they're going to be asking for any time that there's a transfer, man. So, yeah, it's like that old thing. Like, if you're a chippy and you got to do a quote, they say, well, how does it go? It's like, I can do the job fast, well, or cheap, and you only get 2 of the 3.
Well,
Yeah.
no, okay. I'm going to disagree with you there because we way overpaid for foul. I'm sorry, but we did. I'm
Okay.
much more willing to overpay for what's his name than foul.
Okay.
You have to be careful what you believe in the media, by the way. The figure that's given is including add-ons if certain
Add-ons
things
and
happen.
stuff. Yeah. Okay.
It's not the money we've actually paid.
No,
for him.
I
Actually,
know.
What we paid
I'm
for him
aware.
Okay.
isn't a huge amount.
Okay.
If we're successful, then we end up paying more for him. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
aware of that.
Okay. Let's. I've got a point here, and tell me whether you agree or not. Let's assume we paid 580,000, just straight up, right? I'll agree that sounds like it's overpaying, right? Now, potentially there's a reason for this, and this is the part you may disagree with. We are finding issues getting a Palmer replacement or someone to do the Palmer role. Why? Because generally we're looking up to the leagues above us to find better players to do that role. But the majority of the clubs above us have completely flipped their tactics. They're not
Yes,
playing.
I was gonna
They're not
say,
playing
yeah.
big man, little man.
Yeah.
So a lot of the big men that are still there don't play that style of football. They have moved to a different strategy, to a different style. I'm not saying they can't do it, but my point is that there's a lot less of them. Therefore, there's a lot less options. And we had a couple of options. We were trying to pull them out of teams where they were, but we just couldn't get the deal done. Now, because of that, let's say, that leads on to then we can't get who we want, which means we have to get someone. And Parky's not going to change his style. He wants the big man, and he ended up overpaying for foul, assuming he did. Just leave that aside for the moment. So he was wanting foul for the future. He was planning on training him up into January, and then to kind of take over properly from Palmer. And he was hoping that Fletcher and Palmer were enough to keep going the way he is. And ultimately, I guess it didn't work out, or hasn't yet worked out. But I think that's the issue there.
But
Agree, disagree.
But what I'm saying is, with all regard to that, can't you say the same on Alfie May? When we only have one sub for Molin, Alfie May could have wonderfully taken that spot. We offered him, if I remember correctly, we offered him 900. They wanted 1 million. We couldn't spare one more 100,000.
Maybe, but there's a big assumption there. The assumption is that Alfie May would come to us for 1 million, and maybe he was never coming to us. Other teams, and I've said this for a little while, other teams will use Wrexham to barter a better price.
Stocking horse.
Yeah, and I just said it there earlier. Who's the guy that went to Bolton? The McAtee.
Yeah.
Was it McAtee?
Yeah.
We were going to sign him at one point.
I don't know that was ever true. Like, was he ever coming to us? Like, apparently we almost got him, and last minute he walked away.
As I understood, it wasn't about money. He just didn't want to.
Well, then he's using us, and other players are going to use us too. So it's like, I'm not going to be too critical on the club for the striker issue and not getting someone in. I would love to have just got someone in and be done with it. But the reason I won't be critical, especially this season, maybe I would have in the past, is because we did such good business and smart business as well. We didn't ridiculously spend for our defence, for our midfield, and look how it's worked out. So I will give the club the benefit of the doubt this season because we had such a good summer window, but we didn't get the front deal done. And look, if we had issues in the midfield, if we had issues in defence, we probably could have held it and had no big deal, But look, it was up front.
Well, but the thing is, it's not that I have a problem with us not overpaying for someone because it's good and let's overpay anyway. It's the problem that we don't have a choice, then we need to overpay. I mean, if we had 2 more strikers, that way Molin would have 2 subs, not just 1, then I would say, well, hell, we're not going to overpay no matter how good he is. But when we lack in strikers, we don't have a sub, and we know if one of them go down, that's it. We don't have a sub for Molin. We should know that even if they over ask, we just need to do it. We don't have a choice.
Yeah, this is a massive conversation. In fairness, though, like we could spend 2 hours just discussing transfers and how it works and should we spend this and that and the other. And we did. We spent the whole summer. We were on every week in the summer, and all we were doing was talking transfers. So I think maybe we've said as much as we can on this one because in order to make our points, we have to guess at what the club did, or we have to guess if the players were coming. We have to guess if the players were, asking for too much. Was the club too cheap? No one knows those answers, so I don't know that we can really get to an answer.
Actually, bring to the point of missing a striker, we do have 2 on loans. Now, I do know sometimes you can loan someone out with the option to call them back. Do we have a callback option to any of our
I
loans?
don't think so.
January.
But would we be bringing back? I mean, Billy Waters is a no-go. And Dolby, yeah, but I don't really feel that he's EFL 1 standard, to be brutally honest.
Well, if we're waiting for January anyway, we'll just bring a new player, I think.
Yeah.
We're not going to just recall a loan.
You've been a bit quiet.
We'll get a player before January.
Well, Ip Karma, I know we have a sub for Molin, which is JM. I was saying we need an extra sub in case one of them get injured.
Yeah, we had Fletcher.
Fletcher is not a replacement for Molin, he's a replacement for Palmer. If we go by the big little.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah. So,
Welsh, have you ever watched the show Billions? The show Billions?
yeah, saw the first couple of seasons.
Yeah, like if you got some inside knowledge, just say I'm not unsure.
Guys, you haven't been listening.
You can make up whatever you want, my friend.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if you've got some inside knowledge, just it's like I'm not unsure.
I'm not unsure.
Nice.
Okay. Right. One last thing here before we go, because I think we're pretty much there. We are coming up on 2 hours. So we have been talking longer than the football match. So I think that's good enough for the night. But last little one here. Where's it gone? Hip Karma had a question. Is it a striker issue? Here we go. Mary, sorry, it was Mary. And she put in $10 as well. So we're going to answer this and spend a couple of minutes just to finish up. Thank you, Mary. Again, appreciate all you do for the channel. Do we all think that this is a striker issue, Or do we agree that this is a conversation about creativity / scoring goals from the rest of the team? We can't rely on only strikers.
I think that's
Thoughts?
a column A, column B situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's their job, the strikers. It's
I was
like
going to say
saying, is it,
the clues in the title. They're called strikers for a reason. Their
Yeah.
primary job is to score goals. Yes, you might get goals from other parts of the pitch, but their primary goal is to score goals.
Yeah.
If they're not doing that, then
Well,
Uh,
I think the idea when she's saying creativity scoring, that's not a strikers thing. That's more of a formation / tactics thing.
True.
If we change to one striker, we do have enough strikers to cover the striker position. If we change formation,
Okay. Yeah, so the two halves of that conversation. Right. Is it an issue scoring goals from the rest of the team? My answer to that is a straightforward no. Because the rest of our team have produced a lot of goals so far this season.
I mean, Cluith is outperforming the strikers.
yeah, but I mentioned it there two episodes ago, I think, or two shows ago. I went through the players that have scored, and we do have a significant number of players that have all scored, many of them multiple goals. So we are scoring from the rest of the team, and I think it's at a level that you would maybe like / expect from the rest of a solid team. So that is working, I think. I don't think we should be asking for much more than is being achieved by the rest of the team. So that is working. So then it comes back to the striker issue. Now, if Mullen starts firing, maybe we're not going to have such a big issue. But it's a lot to ask of him. And ultimately, if we get many more issues, we may have to go to something like a single striker. And Parky will just have to figure it out. He'll have to change something. Like changing as little as possible. Is it possible to do a 3-5-1-1 and have an attacking midfielder sit back a little bit, and have Mullen up front on his own, and we just have to play true to him more. And we can still play up the wings, still throw the crosses in,
and you can have Lee underneath him.
and maybe Lee sitting back just a little bit underneath him.
Yeah, kind of like a
You know?
shadow striker. That would be a good idea, in my opinion. But the problem is Lee Parky won't do it.
Well, I'm saying he'll have to be forced into doing something if it gets much worse. But right now, we're just managing. So,
and we've been a little bit unlucky. You look at the top 3 goal scorers of the season so far, and 2 of them are injured right now. That doesn't help.
Yeah, and if we can continue like that, we're going to have a Mullen issue where he's going to be injured. He just came back from surgery.
well, that's please survive until January.
We can't survive
Pretty
until
much.
January. We got to bring someone in.
Yeah.
Well, he did want the minutes.
Well,
he's got his wish. He's definitely got his wish,
now.
hasn't he?
Yeah,
Not the way he
absolutely.
probably wanted
Yeah.
it, but
No,
yeah.
definitely not. No.
Yeah. Okay, guys, this has been a nice long one today. Some good conversation. I think it was enjoyable. I had fun anyway. I enjoyed listening and talking. Let's end with Glenda. In Parky we trust. Yes. We all love our Parky dinosaurs and our Parky ball. So, in Parky we trust, and I think I will end it there. Let's throw out the Discord one more time. Copy, paste, and here we go. And thanks to Michael for coming and joining us. So it was nice to see you in here. You're welcome back again sometime to come talk to us. Anything you'd like to say?
And on that bombshell,
Excellent. Nice one, Michael.
Thanks, Mike. PC. Up to you.
Yeah. No, all good. I'll see you on the next one.
Okay. Take care. He didn't do it. He didn't say it.
He didn't say it. I'm sure he would if you
Ah.
asked him nicely. Parky's interview's out. For those
Is
of you
it?
who haven't seen it so far, he's quite pleased with tonight. He said two very well. I'm not going to tell you. Let you watch it. I don't want to ruin it for
Yeah,
you. But
Josh will do it either
yeah,
tomorrow morning or
he's
after.
pleased. He's pleased anyway. So yeah.
Okay.
End of the day, you can't wish him.
I thought he would be. To be honest, I thought
Yeah.
he would be actually.
Definitely. Yeah.
And look, ultimately, I'm going to say I'm pleased too. I
Yeah.
would have preferred the win. I would have preferred some differences, but I'm happy with a draw at home against who will likely be a top 4 side. Let's just say.
A tweet I was just looking at, which I think puts it into perspective beautifully.
Okay.
5 years ago, Huddersfield were in the Premiership. We lost 1-0 to Dover. Huddersfield are delighted with the point. I think that says it all. I think that wraps it up quite beautifully as a statement. And on that bombshell,
he's gone. Thank you, Welsh Techie, for jumping in with us this week. And thanks to everybody else who is here with us. I really enjoyed this show. And hopefully we'll have a few more new faces next time. And I said I will talk about this weekend. So I am going to the Charlton match. And I will be doing some call-ins from Charlton Athletic. So the plan at the moment is that I will be taking some footage while I'm over there. I will probably do a edited video for a bit of a fan vlog style from after the match. But I am hoping to get to the bar early. And if there are some fans, Wrexham fans, maybe I will try and do some interviews or some discussions with them in the bar. And if that is available to me, I will throw up a live stream to do it before the match starts. I am also planning on getting to the stadium early and having a look around while it is quiet. So at that point, we will very likely have an early start to the watch along with Josh. And maybe I can show you around the ground, or we can just have a bit of an early discussion before people start filling into the grounds. So you can look out for an early start to the watch along on Saturday. And also, I may be meeting up with Tommy Kaus while over there as well. I believe I will be. So I'll have to play it by ear a little bit with that. He will be producing his own video. He will be at the match for Men in Blazers and will be shooting while over there as well. So I may meet up with him, and I may do potentially a live with him or something if that can be arranged as well. So it'll have to be played a little bit by ear as we go and see how things go. But if you're around, look out for it and look out for an impromptu live whenever I can get something going. So once again, thank you. And on that bombshell, I will see you from London for the match on the weekend. Take care.